Hi students, you are watching Biology for All and I am your teacher Dr. Mahmood Hassan. Today I will give you an overview of cellular respiration. The chemical ingredients of photosynthesis are carbon dioxide, a gas that passes from the air into the plants via tiny pores called stomata, and water which is absorbed from the soil by the plant roots. Inside leaf cells, organelles called chloroplasts use light energy to rearrange the atoms of these ingredients to produce sugars, most importantly glucose and other organic molecules. You can think of chloroplasts as tiny solar-powered sugar factories. A byproduct of photosynthesis is oxygen gas that is released through the pores into atmosphere. Both animals and plants use the organic products of photosynthesis as sources of energy. A chemical process called cellular respiration uses oxygen to convert the energy stored in the chemical bonds of sugars to another source of chemical energy called ATP. Cells expend ATP for almost all their work. In both plants and animals, the production of ATP during cellular respiration occurs mainly in organelles called mitochondria. You might notice in figure that energy takes a one-way trip through an ecosystem, entering as sunlight and exiting as heat. Chemicals in contrast are recycled. Notice also in figure that the waste products of cellular respiration are carbon dioxide and water, the very same ingredients used as inputs for photosynthesis. Plants source chemical energy via photosynthesis and then harvest this energy via cellular respiration. Note that plants perform both photosynthesis to produce fuel molecules and cellular respiration to burn them, while animals perform only cellular respiration. Plants usually make more organic molecules than they need for fuels. This photosynthetic surplus provides material for the plants to grow or can be used as a starch in potatoes, for example. Thus, when you consume a carrot, potato or turnip, you are eating the energy reservoir that plants, if unharvested, would have used to grow the following spring. People have always taken advantage of plants' photosynthetic abilities by eating them. More recently, engineers have managed to tap into this energy reservoir to produce liquid biofuels, primarily ethanol. But no matter the end product, you can trace the energy and raw materials for growth back to solar powered photosynthesis. Keep watching this video till end and don't forget to subscribe to my channel Biology for All. Dear students, this slide gives you an overview of the complete respiration process. Different species of organisms are adapted to release energy from their food sources in different ways. Organisms that live in oxic means oxygen containing conditions carry out aerobic cellular respiration. The term aerobic means that the process requires oxygen to produce ATP. Animals, plants, and many types of fungi, protists, and bacteria use aerobic cellular respiration for energy. Other organisms that live in anoxic or no oxic conditions carry out anaerobic cellular respiration. The term anaerobic means that processes does not require oxygen to produce ATP. In fact, for some organisms, oxygen may be lethal. Some types of bacteria carry out anaerobic cellular respiration, as do members of archaea. The deep ocean producers, chemosynthetic organisms, are examples of organisms that depend on anaerobic cellular respiration. Some nitrogen-fixing bacteria and other types of soil bacteria are also examples of organisms that carry out anaerobic cellular respiration. A third pathway for releasing energy from food sources is fermentation. Fermentation is an anaerobic process, but it is not technically classified an anaerobic cellular respiration. Yeasts and the bacteria that cause milk to sour, Lactobacillus bulgaricus, are examples of organisms that carry out fermentation. Fermentation also occurs in the muscles of mammals. Aerobic cellular respiration is an oxidation process in which a series of enzyme catalyzed reactions transfer electron from high energy molecules, mainly oxygen. This process is the main source of releasing energy in the form of ATP in plants, animals, and most other eukaryotic cells. This slide outlines the key events in cellular respiration. You will learn about each of these events in the coming videos. Note that cellular respiration begins with glycolysis, which occurs in the cytoplasm of all cells. Glycolysis is an anaerobic process, which means that it can proceed without oxygen. Glycolysis generates a small amount of ATP. However, the product of glycolysis is a molecule called pyruvate that still contains a large amount of chemical energy. If oxygen is not available to eukaryotic cell, pyruvate proceeds to the process of fermentation. When sufficient oxygen is present, pyruvate is transported from the cytoplasm into the mitochondrion. In the mitochondrion, pyruvate undergoes a reaction that prepares it for entry into the Krebs cycle. The major function of the Krebs cycle is to transform the energy of glucose into reducing power of molecules called NADH and FADH2. These molecules supply high energy electrons to an electron transport system that produces a large amount of ATP. Water is the final end product of this product. This ends up today's video. Hope you like it. Bye for now. See you in the next video.